Hi, it's Les Arnott here, and we're going to have a look at how to add a bit of magical light to your images. So we're going to learn how to put some lighting effects, some mist effects, and some beaming rays coming down from the top of the image. And it's quite easy to do, so very easy to follow. First of all, I'm looking at the layers, so we've got the background layer here. And what we want to do on top of that is to create a new layer. So if we come down to the bottom of the layers palette, and you'll find the button down there, create a new layer. And there's the new layer above our image. Now you can also do that from the menu. If you go to layer, new layer, that would do the same thing. So two different options there. I'm just going to minimize this now so it's out the way. So everything I'm doing now is on a separate layer to the actual background, so the background's protected as such. And the next thing I'm going to do is select the Marquee tool, and we're going to use a rectangular Marquee tool. You've got two there, the rectangular and the elliptical, so make sure you've got the rectangular selected. We're just going to draw a square box. Now I'm going to hold down the shift key when I do this, and you can see that when I hold down the shift key it turns to a square, and if I let go of the mouse before I let go of the keyboard, I'll get a true square. So something in relation about that size, not too big. And then we want the colour white for your foreground colour. So where you've got your foreground picker box there, make sure that you drag it into the corner to get white, or you can click the little default color buttons which will change to black and white, and should you get black on top you can swap them around using the little boomerang there to switch your two colors. So we want white, we want a brush, and we want a soft edge brush. So anything with a soft edge. The size you can change. We want something quite small, so you can adjust the size from there, or using the curly bracket keys, which are to the left of the enter key on your keyboard, or the return key, and you'll see the two parenthesis brackets there that you can press either of those. The one on the right makes the brush bigger, the one on the left makes the brush smaller. I just want something around that size. And I'm just going to click now. I'm trying to imagine where the center is, and I'm just going to click in a couple of times so we get quite a dense. It's not too important, and you can do this a few times to get the effect that you want should it go wrong. Something like that. Doesn't got to be perfect. Now what we're going to do to this is to apply a blur. So for that we go to filter, we go to blur on the menu, and we want radial blur. So radial blur you'll find there. We click. Now you've got two options on this. Usually it comes up on spin, and the quality is usually on draft. But we want zoom, and we want best for the quality. Now, unfortunately with this filter, it doesn't give you a preview of what's going to happen, but the slider for the amount needs to be all the way up to 100%. And then we click on OK. And you see now we've got this blurring effect. Now I'm going to repeat that. So if I go to filter, you'll see at the top you've got radial blur, and just clicking on that will straight away redo the effect. I'm going to do that again, filter, radial blur, and again. I'm going to do that a few times, probably once more, so I've got that effect. Yeah. Now I'm looking which is better, from the top or the bottom of the effect, and I think I quite like the top half of the selection, so I'm going to get rid of this selection now. So we go to select, deselect, And what I'm going to do is to draw another marquee over the centre of this selection there. So I'm going to make sure I'm to the left and drag across over to the right. And if I hold down the space bar before I let go of the mouse, I can actually move this around. So, and then when you let go of the space bar, you can redraw. So I'm just getting this in the correct position. I wanted it somewhere about. I might actually go. I don't know whether to go with the bottom or the top. I may actually go with the bottom on this, I think. Okay, so I'm gonna release it there, drag down, let go. And this is the part I'm going to delete. So to delete that, I press the backspace key, and I'm left with this. Okay, select, deselect again. Now I'm going to select the move tool. And you can see we've got this in a little box. I'm going to put that up the top right hand corner, and I'm going to drag down from the bottom, and I've now got this blur effect. I'm going to actually drag it wider than the window so I can get that back up. I can move this up, press the enter key, and there's the effect. If I want those to come down more, I can drag down. Actually just make this a bit smaller, so just apply that. If we click on the zoom tool and zoom out a little bit, just while we do this effect, click back on the move tool, and we'll have something like that. Press enter, and then I'm going to crop that, so I'll crop it off the parts that I don't want. So we click on the crop tool, and I make sure that there's nothing in the box, it is completely empty. You can click clear to make sure of that, and all we do is just press the enter key. Press that twice, double click the hand tool, and that will make the image fit the screen. So there's the effect. So we've got this like ambient light. We can actually change this, make it a little bit softer. So if we go to the layers and we look at the layer mode, which at the moment is on normal, we can click, and from the list, if we select soft light, you can just see it just gives that little bit of ambience to the picture without being overpowering. If you wanted a little bit more, you could right click and duplicate the layer, and then you can lower the opacity just to get it how you want it. That's looking okay. I'm going to merge that down now, so I'll right click on the layer and merge down so that all that effect is on the one layer there. Okay, so let's add a bit of mist to the bottom now. So we want to create another new layer, so we click the new layer button, make sure that comes up. There we go. So we're now working on layer 2, and I'll simply get the brush again. I'm going to make the brush a little bit larger, not too big, and I'm going to click down the bottom and just make sure I go from left to right. Don't go too high up the image. So something like that, doesn't got to be fancy at all. And then what I'm going to do is to go to filter, blur, and we're using Gaussian Blur, and we can drag the slider up to any effect. Want it to be quite high, something like that. And then again we can click on the move tool, and I can drag this up or down. Press the enter key when you've got the size you want, and I'm going to change that to soft light again. You can see again it's not overpowering, it just adds that little bit of ambient light. And there's your finished image. So if we just hide those, that was the image before, that was the effect for the rays coming down, And it's not a lot, but it just gives that little bit of a special effect. And how you actually create the rays in the first place, obviously working with those dots what you put on there, and putting it in different places will give you different effects on that. So a little bit learnt there, and I hope it adds a little to your images. All the best.